Hey everyone, it's Gabe, and today I am going to be doing kind of like a makeup explainer video if you're a beginner or you're into makeup but maybe you think you're not brushed up on current products and techniques. So let's just get started. Okay, so first of all, when you're starting your makeup, you need to start off, unless you have really oily skin, it's generally a good idea to start off with a clean face and a light moisturizer. Nothing like a night cream. Generally, like anything that's in a jar is probably going to be too heavy. You want to just do something light that's a gel texture that will soak in your skin within a few minutes. And you can also use something like this, which is like just like a facial spray that has a really light mist that will just give you some moisture. And then the second thing you need is primer, which is not the same as moisturizer. Many people will tell you that. So why you need primer is it makes your skin an even base for the makeup to put on. It can help fill in your pores, even texture, things like that. So you need the primer. It will make your makeup last longer. And primer can come in a lot of different forms. It can come in a jar like a thick cream. It can come in a tube like this, where it's kind of like a gel, or it can even be in a bottle like this, where it's almost like a water gel type thing. And you just spread it all over your face in a thin layer. Usually you don't need that much. Like, you'd be surprised at how little you might need. And once the primer's set in, next you need foundation. Now foundation can either be like a liquid foundation, a cream, a cushion, a powder. So let me show you some of these forms. So this is a liquid foundation, just like this one. They can come in different types of packaging. You always have to shake these before you use them because they separate. This is also another type of foundation. This is cushion foundation. They come with a little sponge on the top and this extra door, and you open it up and the cushion's in there. So you can have these types of powder foundations too. And what I usually do is I will put on something like this, like a liquid foundation, because it makes a really light layer and can be good if you don't want something heavy. And then I'll just put a powder foundation over it. So in order to put on your foundation, the popular thing to use is this. It's called a beauty blender. And this is a sponge dry, but what you do is you run it under the sink a couple times and you puff it, and it will absorb water, and it gets to be about twice this size. And then once it's like slightly damp, you can put the foundation on the back of your hand, or if it's a cushion foundation, you can just take it straight out of here. And you can also use this for powders. Just take it straight out of the powder and then just dot it like all over your face, and then blend it, and do it section by section because the foundation will dry in spots on your face if you dot it all over your face first. You can also use brushes, but generally sponges are better for foundation because they leave a streakless finish and they can be a little bit easier to deal with. And depending on the sponge you buy, the beauty blender is like $20, which is pretty expensive, but it's generally considered the best beauty sponge out there, but you can get better ones for a little bit less. And some brushes can be a lot more expensive. So it's like whatever you want to do, kind of. So after you've done your liquid foundation, what you want to do is some concealer. And this is an optional step, but a lot of people like to do it. This is the color corrector, and this is like a liquid, and it looks like a concealer. This is yellow to conceal redness. These can also come in like a cream form or a stick form. And if you want to do this before your concealer, you can use these in different colors depending on what your problem area is. And you can dot them on your face, blend them in with your sponge or your brush, and then over that you put your concealer. Now this is a liquid concealer, but concealers can also come in a pot form, and they can look something like this. This isn't a concealer, but just like for reference, they can come in something like that, or a stick, but generally like the stick ones, they're a little bit dry, so you might not want to use that. The liquid ones like this are the easiest to blend out. So after you do that, you want to dot the concealer where you need it, and then also what you need to do is put it in a triangle under your eyes like this. It doesn't need to be like a ton, but that's how you put it. And then you take your sponge. You should use a sponge for this part because they've got the point. And then you just go like that and you blend in your concealer everywhere you've done it. So the general rule with makeup too is after, like, once you've got your liquid foundation and then your creams that are like concealers and stuff like that and other liquids, you always want to do all of the liquids first and then do all the powders, because if you put something that's liquid on top of a powder, it's going to make it bunch up, and like you don't want that. An optional step but highly recommended is to take a powder like this that's a brightening powder, that's either very light or a little bit yellow toned, and you can use this with the sponge too. Just put the sponge in here and then press it underneath your eyes to brighten the area and set your concealer. And you have to set your concealer immediately after you've put it, and you've kind of got to make this face and put the powder on like that, because you don't want any crease to form before you've put that powder. And like, don't be afraid of the powder on your eyes. You really got to like put it on there. And if you have too much, it's okay. You can just like brush it off with a brush. It's no big deal. So you've got your foundation, concealer, powder. Something that I generally like to do is I will take a powder foundation like this one or something like this one, and look, this one comes with a sponge too. You put this over your foundation, and you just take the same sponge that you used for your foundation, dip it in the powder just like anything else. You don't need to cake it. You can just like tap it 2 or 3 times and then start bouncing it all around your face. And the same with the foundation, just work section by section, and you'll be able to see the difference. The powder foundation will make a great difference, and it will help set your makeup. So that's something that you should do. But even if you don't use like a powder foundation, you need to use something that's a setting powder, which can either be colored or translucent, and they can come in a compact like this, or they can be like in a little box and it's loose and you have to shake it out of the top. Those are too difficult though. You only really need to do something that's a pressed powder. So we've got your foundation, powders, all that stuff. So the next thing you need is some bronzer. And yes, you do need it. It's not unnecessary. You have to do it, because once you've got everything on your face, it's too blank, like it looks creepy. You can't do that. So bronzers, they can be a cream. And if you do have a cream bronzer, like in a palette or in a little pot, you do need to put that on before your powder. But like, you don't need to do that right now. That's too much. There are plenty of good powders. So you can have a powder that's like this, or you can even have a product that's like this one, where you take the top off and it's already a brush, and this automatically dispenses product like as you're putting it on your face. But this isn't very common. The most common type of bronzer is just something like this, that's in a compact, that's a dry powder. So you want to take this with like a big brush like this that's angled, and you want to buy a nice quality brush. So you want to get a brush with a tapered cut like this. And any brush, whether it's a face brush or eyeshadow brush, if it's not tapered, if it's just a blunt cut, it's probably not good quality, and it's usually not what you need. So stay away from those, and they should always be very soft. So take something like this for your bronzer, and then just start like this, and start like here, like with this line on your cheekbones. And then you need to go on your temples, and then hold your hair back, put it along your hairline, and then put it on your chin. And something I like to do is just put like a little bit on your neck. Oh yeah, and when you're doing your foundation, you need to blend that down your neck anyway, but that's kind of common sense. So after you've done your bronzer, which you need to do, you cannot skip that. You can do blush if you want. It's kind of an optional step. Honestly, I don't really like it that much, because I feel like usually most of them are just like too potent. But if you want to do it, you just take a brush that's smaller. You could even use something that's around this size. You don't have to have this like type of brush, but just something that's around this size, and just pat the blush like in this type of area. You don't need to bring it up very far, and you don't have to put it up like very high. Just be careful with the blush. But what is really popular to do now is highlighter. And if you want to look like you've got the complete look and you want to look modern, you do really need highlighter. And there are lots of different kinds. So what highlighter is it basically just like highlights, you know, the high points of your face. And it seems unnecessary, but it does look really nice, and it adds to like the whole look when it's done. So highlighter is primarily put right here on top of the cheekbones, and you can really even bring it like up to your temples and your eyebrow, the bridge of the nose, the center of the forehead, the cupid's bow, and the center of the chin. Those are popular places. But if you don't want to do all that, you don't have to. Just the top of the cheekbones is like the really good area to do it. That's my cats if you heard something. Okay. So most highlighters come like this. They're just like a powder. But you can also get something like this, which is highlighter drops. And if you do get something like this, remember you always have to shake these liquid products. And if you want to use this, the best way is, because remember, you can't use liquids after powders. So do something like these liquid drops or a cream bronzer, all that stuff before you do your face powder. And with these types of drop products, you want to just take the lid off, suck up a couple of drops, and put them on the back of your hand. Don't put this directly on your face. It will get everywhere. Put them on the back of your hand. Use your sponge. Definitely not a brush for these types of liquids. Use a sponge and then just like tap it on your face. Or you can use your fingers to tap it in the right places on your face and use a sponge to blend it out. And if you really wanted to go there, you can top your liquid highlight with a powder like this to both make it more shiny and to help set the highlight. Because if you are using like a cream bronzer or a liquid highlight or something before you do your face powder, you cannot then put your face powder over that. You need to either not set that area and then just let it stay the cream finish, or you need to get something like this powder bronzer or the powder highlight and set where you've done the liquid highlight and like the cream bronzer, because you don't want to dilute the work that you've already done on your face. Okay, so that's about highlight. Highlight is cool, you should do it. Let's see, what's next? So next we need to do your eyebrows before you do your eye makeup. And that's pretty important because sometimes your eye makeup, you're just like going up and up and it just like gets everywhere. And then when you try and do your brows, you have eyeshadow everywhere, whatever. So you need to do your brows next. And this is a necessary step. It doesn't matter if you don't have like no eyebrows or whatever. You have to do this. So in order to do your brows, the most easy thing I would say to do is to use a brow pencil like this. And you need to get one that has this spoolie on the back. And that's just to brush out your brow hairs and to blend in the product. And this one is nice because it's an automatic pencil. You can just twist it up. And you fill in your brows like this. And don't be afraid to go like a little intense, because especially when you're doing your brows for the first time, it seems like a lot. It seems like more than you need, but like the darkness, and it will seem different, but you need it. You need to do your brows no matter what. So you can get a brow pencil, which is the easiest, but if you want something that's either more intense or more precise or whatever, you can get this, which comes in a little pot. It's called a brow pomade. And with this, you just take like a fine angled brush and tap your brush in here and then just go through your eyebrows like anything else. And those brow products are also good to shape your brow, because your natural eyebrow shape probably needs to be filled in like some areas, or it needs to be longer, something like that. So it's good for that. So after you've got your brows done, you need to do your eyes. And the first thing is that you have to have an eye primer. And this is very important, and it's not unnecessary. You have to do it. So this is the most popular one. It's called, I don't remember, Primer Potion from Urban Decay. And usually they come in forms like this. This is just like a little tube with, it's like a thick cream. And you only need like a tiny bit. And then just put a tiny bit on your finger, rub it between your fingers to split it. And then put it on your eyes. And you need to put it all the way up to your brow bone, like right underneath your eyebrow. And like all the way out here, and then all the way to the inner corner. And a little bit underneath your eye on top of your concealer if you want to like put some eyeshadow underneath there. We can get to that later. But you need eye primer because it's the same thing as your face primer. It makes sure that your eyeshadow lasts longer, that the colors are more vibrant, that it sticks better, blends better, like all that. So it is very necessary. So when you're doing eyeshadow, this isn't a tutorial, that can come later. I won't teach you how to do stuff now. So most eyeshadow comes like this in a palette. And you can get palettes like this. You can get palettes that are like this big, that are huge. You can get little fancy palettes like this one. Okay, that fell out. Little fancy palettes like that. And as far as like how to apply it, so you can see most eyeshadow palettes come with these little like foam eyeshadow applicators. These are fine. I mean, this one especially, it comes with like these two little ones. This would be okay if you were like traveling extremely light, but you really need to put on your eyeshadow with brushes, not those applicators, because eyeshadow brushes will do a lot better, make it more precise, you can do better looks, all that stuff. So yeah, eyeshadow can come in palettes like that. It can also come in little singles like this, and it can also be a cream or even a liquid. But most eyeshadows are these powders. They can also be called pressed pigments. It's basically the same thing as an eyeshadow. So in order to do your eyeshadow, you need some nice brushes. I'll just show you a couple of examples of good brushes. These are some double-ended brushes by this brand called O.TWO.O. These are nice. These are pretty soft. Here's another brush. This is just a good blending brush. And see what you can see, like I said before, it seems like it's just like a big brush, like it's cut straight across, but it's actually tapered. I don't know how well you can see that, but it is. And you need the taper so that when you're dipping into your eyeshadow and you put this on your eye, well, when you dip in eyeshadow, you need to tap this off like twice, and then you can put it on your eye. And when you start doing this, if this had a blunt cut, you're just gonna get like this stamp of eyeshadow. It's gonna look weird and you're not gonna be able to blend it out. And then these are two more. This is like a little blender brush, and this is like a brush to like just pat things just straight onto your lid if you have something that's like a shimmery pigment or something like that. And this is kind of advanced, but I will tell you, for stuff like that, like if you have a shimmery pigment or a glittery pigment, a lot of those do better if they're applied wet. So what you can do is get a setting spray like this and then wet your brush just like that. You only need like one or two, and it's okay that it's wet, it doesn't matter. To put this then straight into your eyeshadow pan. I'm not going to pick any up, but anyway, you just put it in straight like this, and you don't need to tap it off because it's wet. And then if you put that straight on your eye, you'll be able to tell it'll make the shiny colors and the glitter colors a lot more vibrant. But that's only like if you really want to mess with that. But if you notice something's not working, even any eyeshadow, that will help it stay. All right, so you do need eyeshadow brushes, and you do need like a decent amount. It's impossible to get your look done with like just this eyeshadow brush or just this eyeshadow brush, even though it's double-ended, because as you get more advanced and you learn different looks and you want to layer the colors more, you'll learn that you need different kinds of brushes for different things. So next step, it's kind of optional. It's you can do it if you want. It depends on your eyeshadow look. Is eyeliner. The first thing you can do is take an angled brush or like a little flat brush with a blunt cut, but that's very thin, and stamp it in a dark color, and you can use that as eyeliner on your top eye. Or you can use something like this, which is a pencil liner. This one's double-ended. This one you have to sharpen with a pencil sharpener, but you can get ones which are automatic, which I would recommend. And then you've got your things like this, which is an automatically dispensed like felt tip pen. And typically it's not the popular thing to do right now to put any like black eyeliner in your waterline, which is this like lower inner eye part, I guess. But you can put other colors in there because you can get like every color of eyeliner. To go in your waterline though, you need to put a pencil like this. That's what's gonna work in the waterline. Black's not really popular right now because it does close your eyes if you do that. To make your eyes look brighter, you can get one of these that's like a peach color or a lighter color, or even like something fun like a blue, and you can put that in your waterline. That's popular to do. So after you've done your eyeliner, if that's what you're doing, you need some mascara. Now, if you are using a mascara that you've been using for a very long time, or you're stuck on a certain mascara or whatever, that's fine, but I would say that you should experiment with some new ones. This one from Essence is good. It's called the Volume Stylist. Also, the L'Oreal Lash Paradise is good, and the Butter London Double Decker Lashes is good. There's a Tom Ford mascara that's good. So there's lots that are good, that are better than mascaras used to be a couple years ago. So if you've been sticking with the same one for a long time, I would definitely say you need to get a new type of mascara. You need to experiment a little bit. And there's a lot at the drugstore, so just check it out. So when you've got your mascara, you take it out, and there's always like this like little chunk of crap at the end. You don't need that. That will get all of your face. Just wipe it on the inner corner like that. Start with your top lashes, and then, you know, just wiggle it through like we all do. And you can make that weird mascara face. That helps you. And put this straight on your eye. Don't wipe this off in a paper towel or anything like that. And then after you've done your top eye, before you go back in the bottle, use what's left on the brush to do your bottom lashes. And you do have to do this. You have to do it. I'm telling you, it doesn't matter what your eye look is. You have to do it just like you have to do bronzer, because it just helps open your eyes more. It looks pretty. And if you don't dip in and then go straight on your bottom lashes, it won't put too much. It's just like the tiniest bit, but it does make a difference, and it looks good, and it matches the top. So like, you've got to do it. And then after you've done mascara, another step that you have to do that I know you're not used to doing is you need to use a setting spray. This one is a dewy finish, but for people that have oily skin types, or like just don't want the dewy look, you want a matte look, you can get sprays that are matte finish or satin finish. You can get lots of different skin finishes in sprays. So what the finish does is you spray it on your face like a couple times in an X formation after you've done all of your makeup, including your eye makeup, mascara, and all of that. Sorry, my cat's like on my leg. You spray it on your face after you've done everything, and this seals everything in, including your eye makeup, so make sure that you close your eyes, because it's fine if it gets on your eyes. It will set it. It's good. So what it does... Riley, stop. I'm sorry. So what it does, it just seals everything in, it meshes everything together, and it really does work, because the thing is, if you always use it, you think that it doesn't work, but if you don't use your setting spray, you will notice, because halfway through the night, your foundation is going to be cracking around your nose, your forehead is going to be shiny. It's just going to be a damn mess. So you got to do it, because it will help you, and it will work, especially. They always do work. Most of them are pretty good, but the best one that I would recommend is the Urban Decay All-Nighter Setting Spray, and I think they've got some different kinds of that now. So that one is good to use. You've got to use the setting spray. Oh, yeah. So you can either do this like before your setting spray or after. It doesn't usually matter, but usually I do my lips after the setting spray, because I don't want like the stuff in my mouth. I'll wipe off my mouth with a tissue after I've done the setting spray to get rid of residue. And you need to do some lipstick. Now, if you don't want like a complicated makeup day, and you've mostly just done like your face makeup and mascara, and you don't have anything in your eyes, you can get away without some kind of lip product, but I would suggest at least like a tinted lip balm or something like that, because like it's weird if your skin looks so perfect and then your lips are like bare. It's kind of weird. So you can do something like that, but if you do have eyeshadow on, you really need to put something on your lips, otherwise it's inappropriate. So the most popular product to use today is this, which is a liquid lipstick. This one's a Jeffree Star liquid lipstick. In my opinion, these are the best, and you should get these ones. But this, it's basically, the format is just like a lip gloss, and you just put it on like anything else. But you do have to be careful, because you should make the line as precise as possible, just like a normal lipstick. But these are good because they go on as a liquid, but they dry down flat. But the good thing about this brand is that they don't dry down like too dry so that your mouth feels like a sarcophagus. Those ones still leave a little bit of moisture. Some of them can be drying though. But the perk about liquid lipsticks is that they last a very long time, and most of them don't transfer as much. So what you can also do is, if you want the longevity without the dryness, you can just get a clear gloss or a colored gloss or whatever, or even like a lip balm. And after the liquid lipstick has completely dried, just put that over, and then you'll be good. You can also use a traditional bullet lipstick, a lip gloss. They've got tons of different things now. You can also buy these things called lip toppers, which are basically like a lip gloss, but they're meant to be put over either a liquid lipstick or a traditional bullet style lipstick, and they can just give like more dimension or whatever, but you don't really need to mess with that. honestly, if you wanted my opinion on what to get, I would just get a couple of like good nude and maybe like red or pink colors of a liquid lipstick, because they're the most versatile liquid, not liquid, like lip product. That's what I would suggest. So after you've done all your makeup, that's about it. And now everything I went over, like, it seems like a lot, but if you really want to do makeup and you want it to look good and you want it to last long and you want to do it the right way with the most updated techniques, like, this is how you do everything. And I'll show you everything that we've talked about today. So this is everything that we've talked about today. So you start with your moisturizer and mist if you want it. You've got your primers. We've got foundation, color correcting concealer. This is also another foundation, brightening powder. We've got face powders slash, powder foundations. Then we've got your highlights. This is bronzer. And then you've got your eyebrow products, very important. Eyeshadow primer, eyeshadows, eyeliners, lipstick, setting spray, mascara, brushes, all of this stuff. So it seems like a lot when it's all set out, but most of this stuff you can get extremely good versions of in the drugstore. You don't have to buy anything high-end. But I'm not gonna lie to you, if you do buy all this stuff, it probably won't be cheap, but it's all worth it. And if you want to do your makeup right, this is the general school of thought as of now. And these are just the basics, believe it or not. I have a lot more than this, and I am not considered to be a person that has a lot of makeup. So I hope this helped you. I hope you learned something today. And if you have any questions, leave them down below and I'll answer them. All right, thanks for watching.